Okay, behind me you can see myself. You might not recognize me. I don't like those changes there when I have to move the mic. But I'm just getting adjusted here, guys. You know, this is a new kind of thing for me. So, behind me here, I think this goes back, and it was an emotional episode of myself. Um, and I'm what I'm planning on doing is I'm thinking about perhaps we can do this like I'm just interested because it's a deep concept here. And all right, here's my remote. So you could see me in the background, right? This is my YouTube video here. Um and it was an interesting setup too that I did. I just kind of like a monologue, kind of like now, but um and I went for a while. God, how long is this thing? Let's check it out. I think it goes an hour and well, it's like almost an hour and 40 minutes. Almost an hour and 40 minutes of me talking. And what it was about, I was in a weird, like what I planned on doing and everything. Um, I wanted to get it out there. It was almost like like a therapeutic kind of thing. And I think that's what music has always been for me, is this just ultra therapeutic thing. And I was how I talked with my therapist about things is I felt that I was betrayed. I was definitely betrayed. And um it was just an overwhelming experience. I'll put it at that. And I felt like if I got it out there, that I would feel better. And so many things happened. I don't know why. And it kind of, I remember it started out that I was just kind of talking about how I'm making excuses for not getting in to doing a podcast, because that's really what I wanted to like make this YouTube channel um take off. And what this was going to be was, and what it is, um and what I put it as, Jeff Talks, like kind of like how there's the TED Talks, kind of a play on that. But the monologue was actually whew, hold on a second, a little out of breath there with the energy drinks. You got to be careful with those. Oh my goodness. Um maybe just put this guy down a little bit like that. But ba-dum, ba-dum, and exhale. Um, I'm a little out of breath from it, and then like talking, and I was like getting a little, I think like a little ahead of myself. So, but Ba-dum. Well, anyway, so I'm going to be doing these lives. The At least every day is what I want to do. And then moving on to multiple times a day, where I can do let's see here, these music performances, kind of with what I have right now, um and then maybe talk about it, right? um but When I started out, like, with doing this, I didn't have my microphone set up and anything like that, and it talked about making all these excuses. And the irony is that these same things that I have here now, just minus a few cables, is what I had then, and I just didn't set it up. So that was the point, is that, like, everything almost got me down where I was just, and I'm not, and that's also the point, is I'm not blaming other people, but I allowed that avenue of people to use them as an excuse to not go forward. Oh, I can't afford the microphones right now. And I ended up buying these, like, dinky microphones, and I did that on Facebook, and they work, when you go out and stuff like that remotely and everything. Oh, but this thing is gonna go all bad. Oh, we don't want to see that. There we go. Okay. Um, let's see what happens. We just All right, now we're on my channel here. Okay. Now, it say that it's live anywhere? Because that's what I wanted to do here really quick. Let's see if we can get that up. All right. Can we get that one still going? All right. So we have my channel, and interesting. So it's not. Oh, great. Why doesn't it even say that I'm live? Right? Videos for you. These are all my videos here, and that's great. Past live streams. Okay. We have all these past live streams and everything like that, but there's no current. And that's what I kind of wanted to play, the current. And these were some test ones I did here when we were trying to test the sound. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to play it in the background, almost as, like, I don't know if people would find that kind of annoying or whatever. Um, but it it was a cool idea, and it was just, I'm great. It was great practice, and that's kind of like what this is. Like, I saw this short on YouTube today, and it said, if you're going to start out on YouTube doing lives, then make sure that you have 0 listeners for your first time or whatever. And then you don't need to promote it, because you want to make sure that all your kinks are worked out or whatever like that. Let the people come. Don't like overly promote yourself and things like that. Like the people will eventually come. And I think if you're in the stages like trying to find your niche, then give it time and don't try to like force the issue, you know? And it's different from the other broadcasting that I did because that type of broadcasting is just you already have people listening to you, you know? They're flipping through the channels on their car and then boom, there you are, you know? So, this is a different ball game where you have to be your own promoter. And look at me, like directing a sympathy of emotions with my hands here. Um, it's great. It's funny, you know. Um, I don't know how other people would view it, but I want to do some cool, maybe interesting kind of background angles, things like like that, you know. Um, and What I wanted to do, and the reason why I don't want to fumble through the TV unless I feel like moving this, and maybe we'll do that in a little bit because nobody's really watching anyway. So maybe we'll try to find it at least. I can't guarantee anything, but we definitely want to have like an infinite loop thing. But anyway, getting back to like, you know, I can kind of experiment with things and then do good things, right? And then he said, make cool thumbnails. And then he said, I don't remember who he was, but he said, make cool thumbnails, right? I mean, that in is a cool art project in its own. And that's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really spend some time now uh making some cool thumbnails, just go ahead and this is art time and we can make some cool things and maybe I can get my son involved and I'll just have a variety of like different thumbnails and I'm sure I can do that and just come up with just like I don't know I got photo I have photos and um could maybe draw some things. And actually, my girlfriend is a really good artist. Like, um, she has done I'm looking around here and it's like, my God, like, you know, um, she does some really amazing art projects. And I can't wait to see what we're going to bring to the new place that we have because that's just gonna be like it's just the way she decorates and everything. Um, so cool. So yeah, I really can't wait for that. And she can do a lot of great things with these thumbnails. And um, you know, my son can do like a lot. Like he's really into art, and he has this really cool interesting, like, different perspective of me that, both of them might see something, um, that I don't see or whatever. Uh, but I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe it's just I'm a little clogged up here and trying to talk and then breathe out of your mouth is not the easiest thing. So, but anyway, um, there's that he said. So we have like the thumbnail aspect and also people will eventually listen to your show. And even though it's live, this is being recorded live and it's going to be promoted too later. So I don't know, maybe with a cool thumbnail, somebody might be like, "Oh, this guy looks really cool. I might want to listen to him." And then they click on it, and then, every day I have this morning show where I talk or whatever. Actually, I wanted it to be the morning. And it's funny, I say it's the morning show, but it's really the afternoon, right? Um, because good goodness, I started at like 12:30, and interestingly in the chat I wrote good morning. But yeah, so there's that. So that's a lot to look forward to. Um, and I really look forward to bringing everybody though like some great not just great performances, but just great shows. And I also on another note, I started with also we have to have this consistency thing. Um, and I really like on Facebook, I do have a bit of a following on there. So it's not like Uber a lot, but I've been working on that for a long time. And a lot of the views come from when I do reviews of I don't want to say I don't because in other states it's not like a legal thing, and then in New Jersey where I am it's a legal thing. So I don't want to so I was a licensed person for that, and I did a lot of like cool reviews, and I went to different places and reviewed their like products. Sometimes I would be on location or whatever, and I would be on location, and I would um talk about the products and everything like that. And I get really excited. And I started putting together like some clips too of those reels and everything. That was a lot of fun. But I like to kind of hop around with different things. But there has to be some kind of like consistency with everything. Because it's gonna be like not cool then, people are gonna kind of I guess it's algorithmic, whatever. Step into my algorithm, and we want that's just how it works because if it's just like these one shot things. But then again, my point is that some of the things that I do create, they take time, and they're not going to be these like because for me to put out a quality show, it takes time and it takes preparation, it takes planning and all that. Even to have what am I writing here? Even to have like the unplanned, right? To have the unplanned, I must plan for that. And I have to be ready. Um, you know what I mean? So I can do things too that are just spontaneous. So this is like just pretty much spontaneous. There's a few things that I want to talk about. I probably am not even going to get into half of the things that I even want to talk about. This is just the precursor to it. And I've been going on for 19 minutes because boy, God, I could talk. Um, so there's a lot that I want to do that's gonna take time. That's all. It's gonna take time. I'm gonna do it. Um, Definitely gonna do it. And but in the meantime, not even like that it's filler, but I need to do things on a consistency basis that is going to like have an audience, right? Because if I am just not doing things, then And I'm just preparing, like, if I want to do a documentary on YouTube, which I really do. I want to do all kinds of documentaries on YouTube, right? There's all kinds of cool ideas that I don't even think people are even doing right now. And I want to be the director and put together these films because there's so much of my talent that I can add and I can orchestrate and put together. So it just takes everything here of mine. That's with the music, with the talking, the art aspect of it, the visual aspect of it, the actual film itself, um, the research that's involved and the writing, all that, put together to make a really good documentary or film, if you want to call it that anymore. I like the word film. And I like reel to reel because I used to be a projectionist. I used to actually work as a projectionist, and it was really cool. And I used to actually thread the projectors and run about 24 different projectors at once. And it wasn't that hard because once I threaded them, which is probably the most intense part of the whole thing, I got to chill out and it was just a matter of timing everything out and all that. And it was way cool. It was just there was a certain rhythm to it, how it all went together and everything lined up and making sure that you had the right type of audio on. That was on, a really cool uh experience of mine. Um really enjoyed doing that. To a point. Uh, you know, I guess there was some, issues there or whatever. Uh and that could be a lot. It was a lot of pressure. Pressure. Anyway, so in time, I'm going to be doing some great things, and I'm going to be putting some time aside to bring you guys these great things, and it's going to be live performances of me playing music, guitar, and I have this sampler drum machine. Now, Akai just came out with a new thing. I actually thought it was a hoax at first, just the way people were kind of, I don't know if that was leaks or whatever, but sometimes it's just hard to tell when you're looking online what's real and what's not real, because you're just seeing all these, I don't know, and it wasn't even like ads. It looked like fake, right? It looked like somebody made it up, but no, it's a real thing. And I believe other people were saying that too. There was just something weird about that when it first came, like it didn't even come out yet. And then all of a sudden, I remember the day I was on YouTube and I saw the hour. It was like an hour ago, all these people that I've been watching and following, that I've been, studying the Akai by watching a lot of videos on it. Um, which, by the way, the Akai MPC One Plus is a amazing instrument. It is fascinating beyond anything. I love these little groove box kind of like studio setup things in your ear, man. They're really, really neat. I've dug that kind of setup thing since I was in like right in college, like right out of high school. That's what I carried this rolling groove box with me everywhere, and I just got lost in the sauce in my ears. And it would take me to another planet just to sit there. One of the coolest things about creating music is that, and what I've noticed this is in actually orchestrating music and putting layers together. And when you're playing guitar, it's great. It's wonderful. It's meditative. And you do like kind of like the raga, like the Indian raga, the different stages, and the last stage is like that intense stage, right? The most, because you build up to it, and it takes time to warm up as a musician or even as a DJ or anything. Right, give yourself time to build up. Right, it's all you got to build up, because if you just go in hot, then you're not ready for that. Right, you can be shocking when you come, but you got to give yourself time to warm up, or maybe warm up behind stage, or whatever you like to do. You got to give yourself um some time to get into that. um you could see all the different things there behind me. So yeah, I'm getting a little sidetracked here, but one of the coolest things that I was trying to say here about music is that when you sequence music too, especially, and that was, I was saying, it was different from when I was playing guitar. And let's just say, and I was doing that with this is my point here. You start out with like a kick, okay? And kick means like the drum kick, right? Because if you don't know, I'm sorry to bore you. If you do know, when you push on the pedal, right? You push on the pedal, and then it boom, boom, right? And that's like your 4/4, okay? Um, and you had that going, and you loop that. So you have every measure, right? If you know anything about music, it's always boom, 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 boom. That's it. That's it. That's it. Um, and then that's like the basis here of a lot of house music. And you go, okay, well, now I'm going to add the next part. I'm going to add the snare. And then I'm going to add the hi hat next, right? And the hi hat's doing like these eighth notes, and you got like the snare on like 2 and 4 or something like that, right? Like on the second beat, so you got the boom, right? And then you got boom, and then a again, okay? And that just repeats over and over. Like boom, 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 right? But it's just boom, boom, boom. That's what the bass is doing, right? Bass drum. And then on the 2 and the second beat, you got the and then on the fourth beat, you get the again, right? Just 2 and 4. And then you got the hi hat now doing the eighth notes over top, right? The So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Right? That's how you would count that. That's the eighth notes going on top of that, right? And uh, it's kind of like a groove, right? And your mind just doesn't like, maybe you can a bit like me single out one part, but it does something. Even those three things there, they harmonize, and it becomes this pattern that just wants something more. So you add something more. I mean, you add a bass line, right? And it could be something simple as just the bass line comes in on the first beat, right? Or comes in on the second beat or the third beat of that one looping pattern. And it keeps your interest, even though that the drums are doing the same thing, because every so often just a new thing comes in, right? And your mind feels almost rewarded that that new thing's coming in. Oh, what's next? So you wonder what's next, and then you bring in something else. Before you know it, as you bring in that bass line, then you bring in like some chords that harmonize, meaning that, say the bass line is a G, and you play, a B and an F sharp on the guitar or whatever. I love just the note B. I love that. I love chords like major seventh chords. You could do that. Um so they harmonize together. You have the bass, you have the guitar, and it's just simple. It's just the chord, right? Um and in music, we call the tone the color. Now you can go in now and you can play with any of those things, but my point is now you have a song, right? And you can change the chords now, and you can change the patterns, and you can keep the same drum beat, and you can, change it a little bit, but you have the workings right there of a song, you know? And that's right. Isn't that incredible? I mean, I could hear it when it started out as just the pattern, and it's okay, it's a drum beat. But when the other things came in and they harmonized, the feeling I would get, and especially when I started sequencing on my computer, because you have to remember this goes back to like the 90s, and right? And for the first time, I was seeing wave files on a screen. And just to talk into the computer and see those wave files, or to take a sound and see those wave files. And now I could change. There was a program called SoundForge, and I would go into that program and I would modulate sounds and I would play sounds in different directions. And it blew me away. I don't think the computer could take very much of it. Um, but that was an incredible discovering time for me for sound. And just going back to my roots as a little child, that there was always a fascination specifically with sound. Music is a part of sound, but I think I must have had some like just sound first is what I'm saying. There was something with sound, because I don't, how early do you know really what music is, and its subtleness, it lies dormant, but music can be so powerful. Um, and I started out very young in my kitchen. We lived in New Jersey, New Brunswick, and I would play with my mom's pots and pans. And I remember having, I believe it was a Fisher Price tape recorder, and I would just record myself. And it was really neat. I mean, I would just be so fascinated with having the spoons and hitting the different drums. And I would sing, and I would just play the drums and I would sing. And I remember I would try to mimic what I heard on the radio. So I believe that was, in a musical sense. And then having a record player and being so fascinated with records. Um, and I can't wait to get back into records too. I love vinyl. Um, I don't know if I told really what happened with me, but we were at a really low point in our lives, and um it was also a very high point in our lives too, where um I felt very lost. I had just things going on with like family members and stuff, and we worked everything out, but at the time there was some confusion there and everything. And I think that, I didn't know how to really place my roles onto people, and like there was a lot of change, right? And um at the time I was working, and it was a really I actually wish I was talking to my significant other, fiance, if you want to call her that right now. Love her to death. um it's just a very fancy word. I love her to death though. But what was I saying there? See, I get on these and I get a little lost. But goodness, what was I saying there? um I forget there. Oh yeah, so anyway, I said about, the job I used to have, and it was really cool. I worked at a museum, and I worked a lot with the planetarium and the different, areas. But he's really into like paleontology right now. And I would was like, thinking that would be so cool because there was definitely, at the New Jersey State Museum where I worked, there was a lot of dinosaur bones there, and there was a really cool paleontologist there. I don't. He probably retired now. I know he didn't ever want to, but he was such a cool guy. Um, and so yeah, I was thinking, that would have been kind of a cool job if I could muster it. Um, I don't know if they would necessarily, ever give me my job back, but there was a lot of like pressure with having a child, and this is, God, back when before he was born. So you're going back over 7 years ago, and once we had him, I was very early on overloaded with things, and we just didn't know where to kind of deal. We have a child now, and but we have bills to pay, and we have to work full time. And it was an overwhelming situation, and we got through it. And this is like before COVID, and then you have that happen, and we kind of just, move on from that. And we actually lived with her mom for a bit, which was, it had a lot of positive sides to it because I get to see her, and then God bless her stepdad who passed away recently. Um, that was a very sad thing, because I got to know and him, and I thought he was just an absolute amazing person, where he had a lot of love for other people, and um he had some great acts of selflessness. um and he had his quirks, like everyone does. I'm not saying I approved of everything that he did either, but what he did do is, at the time, he allowed us at a very early stage of having a child and raising a child in their household. And that was just, an interesting time where I was taking care of my son a lot, like many hours of the day. And because this was before preschool, this is before now he's in school, you know, um, which is, great for him. And I think great for the parent. And even though I think that like homeschooling is a beneficial thing if it's done right, there's some benefit in having your child being somewhere, especially with just a lot of children, uh, and but gaining knowledge, trust, um, independently, um, away from us, and also, we that gives us a point where we can readjust and work on things that we need to work on, right? And I think back to this like quote that was, I believe it was Jungle Sky 2. I think it's like the first song on there, but just like they would old 90s songs, they would have these little quotes that would come in. And minds can't come together without space, right? I somewhere, I don't know if I'm kind of paraphrasing, but a little bit, but that's what it is. Like minds cannot come together without space, and that's the beauty of it, is that when we are able to just kind of do our thing, it's like that balance, right? The yin and yang. We're able to work on ourselves, do what we have to do, and the better that we are, the more that we can offer others, right? So if I can really work on myself, because believe me, I got some things going, right? Everybody does, but you can better yourself to others. There's some really high emotions going on here behind me. I wonder if I should turn this up a little bit. We can listen to a little bit of this. Well, I don't know. Hold on. Let's see. I gotta do a better system. 'Cause that's not the volume, right? Come on, man. And that is, that is a large Can you amount hear of it? Power and influence that you have, that was given to me, and it was like, yeah, I was definitely crying here. Come true. I mean, if you are a musician, you have music that you create, and that's wonderful. And you might have some friends, and you might be able to play out somewhere, maybe, and but you might not really have a large audience, and it's a very sad thing. But here I am. And it's kind of the same thing too when you think about it. I'm really looking for that audience. And really, I'm trying to think about, when I'm starting, I'm graduating high school. So I'm in my 20s here, and that is, it's an ultimate. It's a lot of. It's a lot of pressure if you make it that. I don't even know where we are here with this, so and
It
it's
can
about
be.
power.
There was definitely
And I felt that I kind of
there was some high emotions here and things that if anybody wants to go listen to it, it's kind of like the story of. There is some clarity on the description, I believe, but it's kind of the story of how I got let go from Princeton and the radio and the engineering that I did there. Um, that was just, you know, so here we are. We're at living with her parents, and, I end up letting go of so much equipment to try to make it because I'm not working now. And then I'm living with her mom and stepdad. And then I lost that. That was the Princeton thing. And I was just like, and then, I don't want to say that word again, just I don't want to get my stuff flagged or knocked down. But, there was that thing going on at that time period. And boom, we're all kind of indoors and everything. And I'm like, I lost that Princeton gig. And it was a couple things. It was both the opportunity to create music, like, I mean, to like mix music live and create whatever show I wanted to create with their permission, which mostly they were cool with my ideas. And they were really cool with my ideas. And they gave me some really cool primetime slots. And I think I did some absolutely incredible broadcasting and just phenomenal mixing and just really cool exclusive tracks. And this played all over the place. This played like people were driving down 295 and they're like driving down the highway and they're listening to me, listening to me mix. So I took that really seriously. And I spent all my time looking for music, and I spent my time recording mixes and just, I went crazy with it. I really did. I went nuts. And then yeah, I miss it. Like, I miss it so much, but these monologues, they talk a lot about that. And it was a great time. I did it for so many years. Um, I used a lot of my creativity, um, a lot of my prime time years. And you had that, so you had the mixing, you had there was a studio, you could create stuff there in the studio, like commercials or um and I think they would even let you like record your band if you wanted to for like your own purposes, but you weren't supposed to play your own music out for some reason. I don't know why. I kind of thought of it like skits or whatever, playing your own music, or like you would do these collages, but they wanted to really say, okay, well, we want to make sure that whatever you're doing is like acceptable or whatever. So that I get that kind of, I understand that level of filterization or whatever you want to call it, um, but yeah. So man, been going on for a bit here. And again, I have so much. We're just kind of going through the music things that are going on. And I think that that's really going to come soon. Like, I wanted to do it I want to do it tonight, but I want to be realistic too. So I have to really meditate and come up with like what's the first few things that I'm going to do when it comes to the music stuff, right? But there is some great videos that I have on my YouTube page that kind of talk a little bit about, and I think I'm gonna have maybe some more like more videos that I'm just gonna post, but I like to do a live once a day, and then I like to have a set time. But you see, there you go. That's when I run into problems because I always have so much going on that I'm like, I'm gonna commit to this, and then something so extreme happens that I really can't commit to it. So I think when I just am just gonna chill about it, all right. I got everything set up, so all I gotta do is just make sure we're good, check the sound really quick, and then boom, I'm in. So, you know, I gotta do that. Even if it's for like a half hour once a day, 15 minutes, something once a day I'm gonna start doing. But really, I have some great ideas, kind of just want to run them through, some sound tests. I'm gonna do a few practice runs and stuff, and there should be a lot of great music coming soon. So I don't know. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna get something. I'm getting kind of hungry actually. So, but let's see here. Good. Any other things that I want? I mean, I think there was quite a few here. This is just something I wrote. So, and then that's another thing I like to do at least once a day because I write like crazy, and there's a ton of stuff in here. At least once a day, post a blog of writing because I have a ton of writing. I probably write multiple times a day, and it's just a matter of taking that here and then transfer it there. So I'm just trying to transfer all my art from here into YouTube for you guys. You guys can see my YouTube. This is my YouTube channel. This is my thing. I think it's so cool. It reminds me of that movie with Weird Al Yankovic and like the UHF. You would switch through the channels, and there was just all this crazy stuff. Anything that you could think of. I love that. There's so much. Like I could like social media. The positive side of it is absolutely amazing. I mean, you can watch videos that are great because I noticed that when I'm feeling down and I got stuff going on, if I just put a bunch of funny things on, I mean, they're actually funny versus some shows that you put on nowadays and they're not even funny anymore. Right? There's a lot of stuff that it's not even I'm not laughing. Last night though, I was watching that um that show Ted, and oh my goodness, if you have not seen that show, you definitely have to watch that show. That show is hysterical. It is so good. There's my beautiful fiance there. That's Sherry. Cheryl. That's Cheryl. And that's my dog, Yoshi. He loves to be loved. It's 1:20 in the afternoon here, Eastern Standard Time. And it's kind of like gloomy outside today. A little gloomy outside. Gloomy day. So not a lot of sunshine. Yesterday, it actually kind of got a bit hot, right? It was like hot outside. And today it's like a lot cooler with the rain. It's a little wet outside, So yeah, and I get this time, this separation time that I was talking about. And I think it's paramount to everybody's existence. Like we all need that, but then we need that time to come together, right? And that's important. Like we get that we all have these times where we have to separate. And when we are separated, to embrace those moments, but then we have to set time aside. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't bringing in any effects there. Just, because they could be quite intense, the effects I have. Which is going to be part of the whole live setup. Is there's going to be some really interesting effects. My palm is itching like crazy. I don't know why. Palm is going cuckoo. Um, yeah, but it's good to have that time, but we need family time, right? We need time to come together, to do things together, to spend quality time. And it's not always about where you go, but it's also about what you do together. Because you could do a lot of creative things together with your family and not have to spend like $1 billion on things. You know what I mean? There's parks. Like I know in New Jersey, this is my beautiful son over here, right? There's parks, beaches. I know Island Beach State Park has a whole nature thing that you can go to. That is like so inexpensive. It's just like by the carload or whatever. But you can look and search for things. There's a lot of free things to do. But there's always parks. And we were looking at different places, and I would always wanted to live down by the shore. But we visited this park, and like there's a lot of cool themed parks that are just completely free that you could just go to, and your kid will love it, and it doesn't cost a dime. And this one, you could see like the ocean in the background, and you were up pretty high away from it, but it was almost like, I don't know, it was like intense looking. Like I think when you look out to that abyss, it's like almost like a living entity right there, right? Um, so goodness, I tell you. Well, I hope everybody is having a great day. I think I'm going to end this for now because I am starving. I really need to get something to eat. And you could keep up with me at jeffarico.com. That's JEFFARICO.com. And you can reach out to me, say hello, whatever you like to do. Um, but yeah, I'm going to try to do these as often as I can. So, just stay tuned. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I should be doing my lives too um, on X as well. So I'm going to be having that, which is cool. Just I don't know if I'm going to do video. I might do video, and I might do just no video. We'll see. Okay, but thanks everybody who has tuned in. This has been a presentation by Jeff Arico. That's JEFFARICO. And again, you can check me out at jeffarico.com. Thank you, everybody. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day today. This is March 27th. It's about 1:25 going on 1:26 p.m. in the afternoon, and it's gloomy outside today. Be well, everybody. Love each other. Peace.